Although the Reformation starts with Luther in the Holy Roman Empire and the German-speaking part of Europe, it very quickly spreads beyond that, and there's a few reasons why. Overall, we can see social, political, economic, and religious reasons for the Reformation to spread. So socially, remember that this is really during and right after the Renaissance. So the idea of humanism is still popular, along with rationalism. And some of those ideas open the idea of improvement and progress, and also criticism towards the church. Writers like Erasmus were criticizing some of the ways the church practiced, if not directly challenging theology, which is what Luther will do later. And also key was the invention of the printing press. These ideas wouldn't have traction if they weren't able to be spread very quickly, and that's exactly what the printing press did. Politically, you start to see some changes, especially in Northern Europe, in the political landscape. Remember that in the Middle Ages, kings were essentially just lords with a lot of land. But now you start to see the development of stronger, more powerful kings who wanted to concentrate their political and religious power. Kings like Henry VIII in England, for example, or other ones across Europe and the Holy Roman Empire. And those kings wanted to consolidate their power, and they had some problems with, how much power the church had in their realm. Also remember that the power of the Pope, especially during the Renaissance, was really significant. The Pope controlled the Papal States, as well as a bunch of other territory, and especially thanks to some more political and secular popes like Julius II or Leo X, who actively fought in Italy to gain more territory. Some kings and nobles are going to see the Pope really as more of a foreign power than a religious leader. Economically, you saw the development of banking and the merchant class in Europe. And remember that the merchants, as well as the nobles, had to pay their tithe. They had to pay the 10% to the church. And a lot of those increasingly powerful people won't want to pay that anymore. They see an opportunity in the Reformation to break from having to pay that tax to the church. And then, of course, this is a religious movement. It's rooted in religious belief. Remember back in the 14th century, you had the Western Schism, where there were too many popes. And the Council of Constance had to be called to put an end to that. And that movement, that started a movement called conciliarism, which said that maybe instead of relying on just the Pope as the head of the church, Christians should rely on sort of a collection of leaders, the bishops collectively making decisions as opposed to one person. And that idea was especially popular outside of Italy, in Germany, England, and the North. And then you had more secular Renaissance popes like Leo X. A lot of the popes in the Renaissance just weren't particularly very religious. Or not to say they weren't religious, but they seemed really secular. They enjoyed, having lots of wealth and art. Some, like Leo, were alleged to have all sorts of kind of unholy kind of doings, prostitutes and, drinking parties and things like this. And so there's a lot of sort of anti-clerical or anti-priest resentment, particularly outside of Italy, but really across Europe. And these are just some of the reasons that Luther's ideas are going to spread very quickly once the Reformation starts.